I wondered also, Tyrus, about the message that it's okay to just tell all the students you'll have to do Zoom school. Sorry, we're going to have to accommodate all these protesters, instead of saying, maybe like if I were at the White House, say, why don't you call the president of Colombia and say, we'll help those students get to class tomorrow. What do you need from me?
Well, we saw that in the civil rights movement when black students were escorted in the classrooms when there was, and there was a reason for that. The problem is that we have a president who wants to be friends with everybody. And I always get told, it was always a friend of mine, Aaron, would be like, oh man, you got to meet this guy, man. Everybody likes him. I don't like him now. If you're friends with everybody, you're friends with nobody. Okay? Everyone's got a problem with somebody. So when you hear the president say, oh man, yeah, that's bad, but hey, that's bad, he's trying to split the diff. This ain't a split the diff situation. And what I don't understand is that Hamas is a terrorist organization, correct? And they are responsible on video of murder, mayhem, rape, butchering. We've seen all that, correct? So if I yell, I am Hamas, aren't I a part of that? And shouldn't America arrest as many Hamas as possible that might even, again, just throwing this out in the air, Jess, because wouldn't that help us with negotiations with getting our hostages home if we have some of Hamas's own right here in America? I mean, they are Hamas, which means they stand by what Hamas. These are pamphlet protesters, by the way. That's how deep their protest is whatever the pamphlet. But if you're willing to say, I am Hamas, it means you're just not only assuming, I guess, the credit they want for being in Hamas, to support Hamas. Shouldn't they be treated as Hamas? Because if we're supposed to be checking our borders and our streets to keep terrorists off, and we're worried about domestic terrorists, we have a terrorist group marching in New York right now in broad daylight telling us, hey, I'm Hamas.
Right.
What you want to do about it? Under that guise, shouldn't that be, hey, great, we don't have to look for them in Gaza. They're right here.
They're right here. And Judge, they've stopped just demanding a ceasefire. Now they're saying that they want Hamas to win. And with the arrests at this point don't really mean anything if you're not prosecuted.
No, it means nothing. Look, the problem here is that the leadership has to come from the top. And if you've got Joe Biden, who is basically doing a Charlottesville of his own, insultingly on the first day of Passover, where he says, I condemn people who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians. How dare you? You're condemning ignorance. But that's not even the point. We've got lawlessness on college campuses. And it's all over the country. This is very coordinated. We've defunded police, and now we're sending them out to these campuses in riot gear. They don't have the ability to take care of what's going on in the city to begin with. And then we have these college presidents who are very reluctant to call the police in. And by the way, Colombia's president, she needs to go. She needs to resign. So what do we do about this? The president has to be a leader. He has to say, as far as I'm concerned, I condemn those people who are threatening and harassing Jews. When Jews are not safe in this country on campus, this is a 1939 pre-World War II moment. The Department of Education should be involved, as well as the Civil Rights Department from the Department of Justice. And where are all the DEI programs? We've been funding DEI for the last year and a half. Why aren't they saying these Jewish kids need to be protected? And now that we don't have classes in school, they're learning on Zoom, which is not what you pay $70,000 a year for. You know, they're basically saying, you know what, Hamas, you won. And I agree with Tyrus. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Are any of these people, are they here on visas? Are they here illegally? Are they here from other countries? Get them out of this country.
Who's buying the tents?
They've got to do, the Department of Justice has to do that.
All right.
Got to stop the Jew hatred. We got to stop the hatred of America.
Harold, I know that you could write a great speech for President Biden, but would he give it?
I hope those there are trying to do this, and I hope they do a better job. Presidents and professors at school, you have one responsibility like the President of the United States has. He's our commander-in-chief of our armed services. You got to make it safe on campuses for kids to learn. And whatever steps you have to take, even if you have to take steps beyond and above and perhaps put your own words at risk against your policies, I think you err on the side of putting kids in safe spaces. This notion of free speech, the judge and we all know around the table, there's a limit to it. You can't incite, you can't endanger, and for anyone to think you have an absolute right, anyone who believes you have an absolute right to free speech is simply wrong. You can't threaten people. What we're seeing on our campuses with tenured professors, we talked about it. Robert Wolf was on one of the shows earlier this week. He was exactly right. We've talked about the value proposition of college, Dana, on this show many times. This is only going to cause the conversation to accelerate more. Before you get there, you have to understand the line. Kids can't be endangered. If a kid wants to protest powerfully, the way you protest powerfully is peacefully. We mentioned Dr. King and John Lewis, Tyrus. Dr. King denounced Stokely Carmichael, a comrade in wanting freedom and more opportunity for African Americans and women and others but he said, you can't do it that way. Right. Dr. King came to my hometown of Memphis and was assassinated. People forget he was there a week before and he came back a week later because the week before he came, Jesse, there was violence in the streets. And he said, I can't be associated with this. We have to come back and do it peacefully. If you can't teach kids to teach and impart that we do protesting peacefully, any Democrat or Republican, I heard a Democrat say this other day, applauding people out protesting. We applaud peaceful protesting. We applaud not threatening other people because they don't look like us, because they practice a different religion. And to your point, Tyrus, anyone that says they are Hamas, Mayor Adams, the New York mayor had it right earlier. There's something going on in this city. There's a coordination. They should all be arrested. Yep. And if we're wrong, err on the side of being wrong on that issue. As Bill Clinton said, be right. Be strong and right, then weak and wrong.
It only takes one.
It's the only thing that's what you have to do for kids.